Hello everyone, my name is John J. For the basics of this tutorial, I'm going to be your infotech analyst. In our previous lesson, we were made to understand the advantages of an Ubuntu operating computer over the Windows operating computers, alright? My friend Alexander explained to us the advantages of a Linux operating computers over the Windows operating computers, and he also made us to understand that the Linux operating system can be installed on any computer irrespective of the product, the make, and the model. So in today's video, I'm going to explain to you how you can convert your Windows operating computers to be using the Ubuntu terminal, which belongs to the Linux family. All right, so without wasting much of your time, let me show you how you can do that. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to convert our command prompt in the Windows operating system to be using the Ubuntu terminal on the same Windows operating computers. How do we do that? We're going to convert the Windows subsystem for Linux that is found on our control panel in the Windows operating system, and then we're going to turn it on. That will enable us to be working on the Windows operating system, but we're going to be making use of the Ubuntu terminal that is still found on the Windows operating computers. Is that understood? All right, so let's dive in. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to go into our start menu, and then we're going to type in turn Windows features on and off on the control panel. So when you do that, you will see that this thing comes up. So you can only find these options in Windows 10 and Windows 11. All right, so by the time you turn on these features, you're going to scroll down to where you will find something like Windows subsystem for Linux right here. So you check this. In your own case, it might not be checked. So once you turn this on, you click OK, that's all. So since I've already done this, so what we're going to do, we're going to go into our start menu, or you can press the Windows key and combine it with R. It will pop up this small run command. So what you're going to do here, you're going to type in CMD, and then you hit enter key. When you hit the enter key, this dark screen is going to pop up, and this dark screen, let me maximize it so that you see what we're doing exactly. So once you have this, you can actually maximize it by pressing Control Function plus 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 to increase the font. All right, so by the time you come to this instance, what you can do is to go up here a bit, and then you change your input to Ubuntu. You find Ubuntu here, so long as you have turned that Windows subsystem for Linux on. You find the Ubuntu here. So this is how the Ubuntu terminal looks on the Windows operating computers. As it is now, we're working from the Ubuntu terminal. You can actually increase the font also by pressing Ctrl plus. Just press Ctrl and hit plus. You can press Ctrl and minus to reduce the font also, but I will just leave it around here. All right, so what does this tell us? On the Ubuntu operating system terminal, what can you do here? You can see that in our previous video when Alexander was making an explanation to us how we can make use of the Ubuntu terminal, he tries to install VLC on the Ubuntu terminal. Exactly the same thing he can do here. You can do so many things with the Ubuntu terminal. But first of all, I'm going to show you how you can interpret the codes that are found on a Linux computer. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to understand how we can make use of the print working directory that will let us know where we're working from on the Ubuntu terminal. So it is called PWD. It actually means the print working directory. It will allow the computer to interpret where you're working from on the terminal. So by the time you hit the enter key, it's going to say, oh, you're working from the user directory of General under the home folder. All right, so the username is General, and you're working from the home directory of the General. How can you find the documents and files that are found under this username General? You can then impute the ls command that will tell the computer to list out all the things that are found under the username General. So after you type in the ls command, you press the enter key, it's going to pop up all these that are found on that file. All these blue icons are the folders that are found under this username General, while the white ones are just files. Like this food.txt is a text editor's file that can be accessed using the Notepad or Microsoft Word or any text editing software. Just like this is a folder, these ones are folder, these ones are folder, these ones are Word files. So we can actually dive into any of these by changing the directory to that folder. Like as long as this is a folder, you can change the directory. Remember, we're working from the username General. So if you want to dive into any of these folder right here, you can change directory to it. So all you need to do is to type in cd to change directory. It gives space into games, and you have to type it exactly with the same way that it was written just right here. If the G is capital, then you have to input your code to be capital too. So by the time you do this and you press cd games /, you are telling the computer to change the directory of this general into this folder called game. So you press the enter key and then you are in the game. How do you know that you are inside the folder game? You ask the computer to list or to print your working directory to let you know where you're working from. Now you can see that the difference between the previous one that says general, that says home, general, now you have home, general and games, which means that you have dived into this folder called game. You can do so many things here. You can create a folder here, you can create a file here, you can copy things, you can edit things, you can delete things just right here. But supposing you want to go back to the folder name that has general, how do you do that? We have to give in a command that says cd give space dot dot. So it will enable the computer to read back to this folder because we are actually working from this game right now. All right, so by the time you hit enter after entering this code, you will have gone back to this folder. How do you know? You tell the computer to print your working directory, you see that it has gone back to this home directory of the username general. Okay, so let us list out the files that are found on this username general by pressing ls-al. You do this and you have all these too many things. Okay, so these too many things are saying that, oh, there's a file called bash history and there's also a folder called all trips, cars, image, data. Now what this is telling you is that this file was created on February 17 by the 1:20 p.m. Let us list out the command of the folders that are found here. So when you have this, so once you have all this, you can actually ask the computer to tell you the date of today's date. You can just say date, hit enter. It tells you, oh, today is Thursday, March 14, and the time is 12:24 p.m. and it's the West African time in 2024. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a file subject. Let us create something like, say, touch subjects .txt. So let us list and see if it is created. So we're trying to see how we can write so many subjects into this file that is a text.txt. So in order for us to do that, we need to give the administrative permission into that file so that we can have the total control of this operating system. For the way my friend said it the last time in our previous video, so for security reason, you need to ask the Linux admin to give you the administrative access to work on your computer from the root. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to su root and then you're going to enter your password. So once you enter your password correctly, you're going to see that your text has been changed into white, that you have the root access to this PC right now. So how do you know? Let us print our working directory. You see that everything has been changed to white. All right, it's no longer the same with this color. But you can also list out the items that are found here. Now we're trying to see how we can write in subjects into this folder. So let us see how we can write something and save into this file named subject.txt. So for instance, we're going to write a subject called English. English is a language that is a subject. Let's just see how we can write it and send into this file named subject.txt. That is where the echo command comes in. So you can say echo English and then put it into subject.txt. So if you do this, if you do echo English greater than sign into subject.txt and you press the enter key, this means that you have successfully created a subject called English and you have sent it into subject.txt. How do you know? That is where you use the cat command. If you cat the subject.txt, is going to this cat command is going to tell you the content of the files that are found into this subject.txt, just like you see that English is found there. But it doesn't mean that you're working from inside the subject.txt, because if you do print working directory, you're still going to see that you're still working from the general file name. So you can actually do something else. Maybe you can say echo economics is subject into sorry, I mistakenly pressed the enter key. So if you say echo economics give space into subject.txt and you hit enter, you have just asked the computer to, oh, I misspelled this economics. You have just asked the computer to write economics into this folder name called subject.txt. How do you know? You cut the content of subject.txt and you see that economics is there. But where is our previous English? Because once you do this echo and you use this greater than sign, it will automatically go and replace the previous words that is there. So how do you append multiple words into a file? That is when you use the double greater than sign. So for instance, if you're going to say, oh, let us list our subject, for instance, let us list maths, and let us say echo math into subject.txt. Enter. Then let us echo physics into, this time you're using a double greater than sign, into subject.txt. Then you can also say echo economics into subject.txt with double greater than sign. You can do as many as you want. Echo biology into subject.txt. You can also do echo English into subject.txt. By the time you decide to cut all the subject.txt, you will see that you have been able to access math, physics, economics, biology, English, all are now found inside this subject. So if you use double greater than sign, you are writing in multiple words into this folder. But if you use just one word, you are automatically replacing the previous one that is there, right? So you can actually ask the computer to tell you today's date, all right? So if you ask for today's date, you press enter to tell you today's date. And you can also say, okay, echo today's date, echo date into subject.txt. Subject. You have to spell it correctly. And you enter. If you cut the subject.txt, you are still going to find it there. Okay, you only said date. All right, so you can actually say date pipe into subject.txt. So if you cut subject.txt, you'll find it there. The difference between what I just did is this. This time we're saying that echo is a command that enables you to type what you wrote here into this subject. But this time we said that date should be appended into the subject. So you see that the difference is clear. In this case, we only say echo date. So it's going to print out only the words that is found here into the subject.txt. That's why you find it like this. But by the time you say date should be appended into the subject.txt, then you find the date of today's into this file with subject.txt. All right, so what else can we do? We can also say that we should make a directory, make a directory called fan, not found. Why? Because it's saying that command make directory not found. Did you mean make dir from web? So in order for you to be able to have the full administrative control, just like my friend Alexander said, you have to dive into the administrative root of the Ubuntu terminal so that you can have a full access to do a lot of things. So how do you do that? That is when you make use of the SU root. So when you say SU root, the computer is going to, you are pleading with the computer to give you the administrative password to be able to work from the admin root access. All right. So when you do this, it's going to ask you for your password. So you can just enter your password. And then once you have this white, all the text has now been changed to white. So it has given you the administrative control. So this is when you can be able to create folder, create files, instead of using touch. If you say touch tom.txt, it's successful. How do you know something is successful? Because when you enter a code and it doesn't return with an error, it means it's successful. So when you say print working directory, you see that you're still working from general. So by the time you say ls of the items that are found under this, you find that tom.txt is found here. So this is how you can be making use of the Ubuntu terminal. There are so many other things that you can be doing from this SS. You can delete, you can edit, you can make, you can create, and you can also run some code. If I want to delete everything that we have done here from beginning to end, you just have to press just one command. For instance, if I want to clear everything that is here, you can either come down to the last command here and you type clear. If I press enter key, everything will go off. You see, and if I come to this one too and I press Ctrl L, everything will also go off. So this is some of the ways in which we use to work on the Ubuntu terminal. I believe you enjoy what you've just seen, and if you actually do, I'd like you to give this video a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next tutorial. Adios.